Trisha.
Hello, hello.
I'm so glad you are here today.
Me too. Me too.
Trisha has been a client, and we thought it would be really great to share her story with all of you, so you can hear what she's gone through and where she's at now, what she's doing, and the ways that I can maybe help you that are watching this, like I was able to help Trisha. So Trisha was in chronic pain for quite a while, and until somebody told her about me, and she came to see me. So do you want to start there, Trisha? Like how, what your body felt like prior to seeing me, how long you've been dealing with all of this?
So that was like 2 years ago, maybe almost 2.5 years ago. Yeah, I was just in my kitchen one morning, hanging out with my daughter, and my back just started hurting. I go to work and I'm sitting down and I can barely sit. It's like painful, so painful to sit. I had to go to the emergency room. Nothing they could really do for you except give you painkillers, which I absolutely hate. I'm thinking this isn't going to be a good way of life for me. So I did physical therapy for a year or so until I met you. And it wasn't really helping. I mean, we did a little stretching and strengthening, but nothing really helped until I met you. So, yeah.
And when we met, I was amazed at how much pain you were in. You could hardly walk into the studio. You told me you were laying down and icing your back twice a day.
Twice a day. Yep. It was miserable constantly. I would literally come home from work and ice. Before work, I'd lay down and ice my back. Like even at work, I was laying on the ground, like doing stretches because my back hurt. Like didn't matter if I was standing, sitting, I just couldn't have any like pressure on it at all. And laying down was the only relief that I had, which is awful having, my daughter was 3 at the time, and having a 3-year-old you're trying to keep up with, like,
Oh yeah.
well, fun, so yeah.
And you were doing massage a couple times a week at that point?
Massage, yep. And just how tight all my muscles were, right? Like there was definitely a missing piece there, right? Between physical therapy and everything, like there was a missing piece because my muscles were still tight. I was still in pain. Like each week I went to physical therapy, I'm like still in the same position, like still in the same boat, like nothing's really different. Maybe a little pain was alleviated, but other than that, like how I feel now and like how I can sit at my desk and not have to worry, just to know I can get up and walk and I can pick up my daughter and just, do all the things that I really couldn't do for the longest time. Just like scared to do anything, scared to bend over and pick up a cup or a toy or, I'm not scared anymore.
And that's a horrible place to be, living in that fear of what will my body,
Horrible.
what pain will I receive if I do this?
Right.
When will my body give out?
Yeah.
You just didn't know. Yeah.
A constant fear. And I think until I saw you, I'm like, oh yeah, I can get things back to normal, or I can move that way. Like you kind of showed me what my threshold is, right? Like I didn't know that until I came to you. Like oh yeah, my body can do that. Like I shouldn't be scared to do that. Or if I wanted to do something, what I loved is you would give me like a really good technique. Like you would give me good advice on, okay, if you do that, let's do this. And making sure lifting things the right way. I mean, you don't think about those things, I think, until you have an injury. Like you could, I was probably doing things so wrong for so long, and then my body's like, yep, can't do that anymore. So it's just about making those changes. And right.
So really, when you came in, we did a combination of things. Each client is so different when they come in, and I do a 3-hour assessment.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I ask a lot of questions, and we do a lot of movement to see what the body can and cannot do. Do you want to say, was there anything about that assessment that you thought was interesting? Or
wow, oh my gosh, that was so long ago. But I just liked how detailed it was. You really looked not just like how my back was, but you just kind of looked at like my posture, and like you just kind of looked at the body as a whole. You didn't just focus on the back, right? Which is what kind of a physical therapist does. They're like, oh, it's your back, we'll just work there. Like you helped me figure out, okay, what can I do for the body as a whole, not just for my back. And I think that's what it was. Like we realized all the tightness in my legs and how my hips were kind of off, or my balance was kind of funny. So we would use all those different little, I don't even know what you would call them, but we used a lot of different tools, I guess you could say, to kind of align things. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's right, because we were looking at, she was so tight in like you were saying, in the legs and leading up into the pelvis and sacrum area. And then emotionally, there was a lot of stress going on at that time. So we had to alleviate that, though, that piece as well, because that was not helping in any way. So we started with doing some SI joint exercises. And I remember very specifically, actually, we were doing these so small. They were just such small movements, because at the time you could hardly move. You could hardly get to the ground. You could hardly even walk down the stairs of my studio. So I was being so gentle.
Now I couldn't sit like this with you in your studio. I was like leaning this side.
That's right. You couldn't. Yeah. Oh yes. It was painful to watch you, honestly.
Yeah.
And so, but I was thinking about one of these things is because we were doing this tiny little exercise and you were like, I've been given a ton of SI joint exercises for strengthening and shifting things around, but you had never seen some of the exercises that I'd given.
No, what you had given me, they were completely different.
And made a big difference in a very short period of time.
Yeah, because I was once a week, and then homework. I think that.
Yeah. So actually, I think it was every other week.
Every other week. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were doing every other week because, I'm looking at your chart right now and I can see the dates. So it was every other week.
Every other week.
And so we started with corset breathing. We were really changing the way the core worked for you, because we wanted to stabilize some of that spine area. And we did the SI joint exercises. And then we began using the mindfulness techniques. We were also addressing, so we were looking at the body, but then we were addressing the fear of what it was like to live in your body, because you had just grown used to that fear, because it had been 2 years by the time we started working together that you've been under a lot of pain.
That I tape up all these mantras all over. They were by my desk. I still have one in my bathroom.
Yay.
Yeah, so I still look at those.
Yeah, so we were using mantras, which I think is a big thing for me, affirmations, mantras, whatever you want to call it. And I think one of them I've got your file. What's the one that you still have up?
What is the one that I still have up? Oh, I think it says something like my body can move with ease. Like, I don't have to like be so stiff. And I say that one to myself like every day, like my body can move with ease, or just because it like feels real doesn't mean it's true, right? Because you get in your head a lot about things. So just because it feels real doesn't mean it's true, right?
Yes. And so, and that's actually the My Body Moves with Ease is one of the first ones that we ever did. So I love that it's still working for you. When I'm working with a client, it's really important that we help change their mindset and change the way their brain looks at their pain. And so utilizing and seeing something written down all over the place really helps change the brain really quite quickly.
Yeah, it really does.
Mm-hmm. And then we were using the tapping technique, which is when we tap on meridian points, and we help to release the emotion from whatever it is that we're looking at. And so we were helping to release the fear, and we were helping to release the stress of work and being a mom and all those things. And then even at one point, I remember you were taking a trip for work and we tapped on flying because you were afraid to fly, and we tapped on that.
Yep, I saw you right like 2 days before I left, I think. Yeah.
And actually, so that's actually a really good thing to talk about, just because that was probably at 6 weeks. It was between we'd been not weeks, sessions. It was about after your 5th or 6th session with me, and you were feeling really good.
And I was nervous because of the flight was so long and I had to sit.
Yes.
Not only do I not love to fly, but that was my biggest concern. I'm like, how am I going to sit in these little chairs for 5 hours on a plane? And guess what? That trip, I wasn't in pain one time. Not once. I didn't have to ice my back. I didn't have to do all these things. I did do my stretches like in the hotel room and things like that, but I didn't have the pain. And if I
Which was
didn't have
so
you,
exciting.
yeah, I probably would have been in pain, So yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So being able to address all those pieces is what I think is unique for me to be as a practitioner. There's not a lot that do all of those little pieces, but I love being able to put them together for my clients because it's like being a body detective and
Right.
knowing.
Yeah. And you know so much. I think I always said that to you. I'm like, how do you know this stuff? Like, you just know so much about not just the back, not just your neck and all these, so much about the whole body.
Which I'm so passionate about. I'm so passionate about.
You really are. You really are.
I have your chart, and one of the things that I help with clients, especially with chronic pain, is our brain is always looking for proof. And so when you're in pain, your brain is constantly looking for that proof that pain exists. So it's constantly shoving it in your mind. So you bend over, oh, there's that pain, there's that proof. I have that pain. But when I'm working with somebody to help get them out of chronic pain, we look for proof to shift it. Or we look for proof that says, wow, look at that. I bent over and it didn't hurt. Or I did this and it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel like that was quite helpful in shifting things?
Yes, very helpful. Yeah. And it's good to, like, in a sense, it's kind of sounds silly, but to like thank your body, like, oh wow, yes, like, or just to remind yourself, yes, I can do that. Or, because you're doing things so quickly throughout your day. And it's good to like step back and say, oh yeah, like I'm doing these things that I used to do and couldn't do them that much because my back hurts. And now my body's all of a sudden like, here I am moving around again. And yeah, just the smallest movements you just take for granted,
I
and
love that. And I'm so happy you brought up talking to your body, because that is something that I always am telling my clients. Talk to your body. Really be having a conversation and be acknowledging it and be grateful for the movement. And gee, thank you for all the breathing you did today. And thank you for that.
and that was weird for me at first, like that it kind of puts you out of your comfort zone a little. You're like, what? Like that was completely new to me. Like I've never done anything like that before, but it does help.
It really does.
Me.
And so one of the things that I do have my clients do, if it's a chronic pain client, I have them come in and I have them write down what they're feeling right at the beginning. So for Trishia, she wrote down things like, I can't sit for long periods of time. I see my back twice a day, all of these things. And then at her seventh session, so it didn't take very long, I had her write how her body was feeling now. And can I read what you wrote? Because I thought it was, okay. I love that it's here. You wrote, and I love you underlying things. I can sit for longer periods of time with no pain, underlying. I don't have to ice my back every day. I played wiffle ball with family. I played basketball and I walked without pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like
want to cry, but it's so different for me now. So
different. I love that. And that is 7 sessions. It was so fast. You just like, boom, you moved through it, but you moved through it because you did the homework.
You have to want to make those changes, like seeing you once a week was absolute, like I needed that, right? Like being one-on-one with you is, I don't know. I wish I could have done more, right? If time had allowed, but what I liked is you recapped every single week that we had a session, and you have the homework and you have to do the homework. I think that helps too. So not just seeing you once a week, but also doing the things Shannon tells you, like, here, this is going to help you at home. Like, yeah. And right. You always think you don't have time. Well, you have time. You just have to make the time for yourself, whether it's just like that 10 minutes in the morning or, another 10 minutes at night. Like you can squeeze it in, it's easy.
Yes. And I love that you put a timeline on it, because I'm not asking for like an hour of time every day.
And the sessions with you go by so fast, and you want them to last forever, but they can't, So yeah, you have to be committed to yourself, not only when, we're with you in person, but when you're at home.
Oh, I love that. Committed to yourself. Yes. You have to remain committed to yourself.
No one else is going to fix this, they can help you just like you helped me, but you have to want it. And
oh, yeah. I'm doing a happy dance right now because literally that's exactly how I feel. Like people come to me, they have this innate sense of healing in their body. And I'm just here, like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, as a midwife to like pull it out of you and help you find it. But you do the work, you do the healing. Yeah. I'm just here.
You help us. Yeah, you did help me find it, because I honestly thought like, oh, I guess back pain's just going to be a part of my life. Like, this is it. This is life for me. And that was like a really awful, depressing feeling. Like I was just not in a good place. Like it was awful. But just to like, I don't know, like, is my back perfect? No, I think once you have back pain, it's there, but it's nothing near to like what it used to be. Like, I feel like it's under control, like it's under control. And I know maybe if I'm having a bad day, I'll be like, hey, Shannon, like I need you, like, and that's the other thing. Like you're always there, like a phone call or an email, or I'm like, hey, I need to get in for a session, yeah, it's just being consistent.
Being consistent, utilizing the tools and the techniques that you learned with me, that you can just do them for a lifetime. Because
Exactly.
And one more question. If you were talking to a friend and they were on the fence about coming to see me, or you met a friend that had back issues, what would you say to them about me?
Shannon, no, like, and I've talked about you to so many people, and they've noticed that change since I've come to see you. Like, my husband's a penny pincher, but, and, sometimes you have to spend the money, right, to get that result. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not just about the money, but some people are like that. Oh, I don't want to go see one more doctor, or I don't want to go see one more person, or I don't want just one more medical bill. And I didn't look at it like that, right? I didn't look at, oh, it's just one more medical bill. I looked at this as like, this was my treat to like myself. Like, it's something like I love to go do, not like I didn't dread coming to see you. Like, I felt like just like coming into your studio, I just felt relaxed and calm, and like, I know I'm in good hands, and I'm like, Shannon's going to take good care of me, like I love that feeling, so going to like a PT office and you don't know who you're getting, and it's not as personal, right? It's not as personal, and you just make it so warm and inviting, and you're just so knowledgeable. Like, and I couldn't get that anywhere else. So
thank you.
I couldn't get it anywhere else. So that's why I would recommend them, because I just have had the best experience. The best. So,
well, I attract the best clients. So I love you. I just have this magical ability to attract these amazing people. So I loved working with you. And I know Trishia reaches out when she needs me. I'm always here for her. And yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, my dear.
Of course. I can't believe it's already been this long already. Like, I've known you for what? It's been a while.
I know. Well, let's see. Your first session with me was in May May of 2019.
Wow. See?
So over a year.
And after the 7th session, like you said, like I already saw so much improvement. And going to PT for what, a 1 year plus? I don't know. I wasn't fixed till I met you.
I'm gonna have that put on a t-shirt. I wasn't fixed till I met you.
Fixed till I met you.